Hi, everybody. We're back for an after show. Sweet and Wayne were having a great conversation, and then I was like, let's take this live. So I'm going to go eat my food. I'll be right back. Bye.
Absolute cock.
He's from Cockney, isn't he?
No, he's from Cuntingville. What a piece of shit.
It's from Manchester.
Yeah, so Swede, what happened last night?
So last night there was some discussion about the minimum wage and Dutch trying to make a couple points, and Dutch said, my daughter, because she's 15, doesn't need to be paid as much as, say, someone who's 18 or older, or 20 or 25 or whatever, which is basically saying that the value of her labor is devalued simply because of her age, and perceived that just because she's 15 doesn't mean that she isn't maybe helping support things at home, or the fact that she's a really good worker and should be paid the value of her, full value of her labor. And so I was a little bit miffed that somebody would sit around and tell someone that they're not worth being paid the value of their labor.
Yeah, that is an absolutely ridiculous notion, because we have a similar thing over here with regards to the minimum wage, depending on your age bracket. I'm literally just Googling it now. How does
so you get like $12 an hour at 15 to 18, and then you get what, like 20 or whatever after that, or some gradated scale, which I've actually thought about before and tried to like sketch it out on paper how it would work and everything like that, and that's fine as a thought experiment, but it doesn't work when you go, do people deserve the fruits of their labor or not?
Yeah. So here,
my biggest issue.
Go on, Russ. Go on.
Oh, I'm sorry. My biggest issue was what it seemed like Dutch was saying last night, and Sweet can correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seemed like his argument was that the minimum wage shouldn't be brought up to 15 because he doesn't think his daughter needs $15 an hour, and basically, to me, what it sounded like Dutch was saying, whether he meant it that way or not, is that those of us who are working at minimum wage shouldn't deserve to get it because his daughter doesn't need it. In which case, in essence, it seemed like he was saying, fuck the poors.
I think that's a little bit of a mischaracterization, in that I think he was going for a gradated schedule. So like his daughter and when she turned 18 would deserve a different minimum wage than when she was 15. So you being well over 18 years old would be like on the what would be considered the full minimum wage, which should be, roughly 15, somewhere between 15 and $22 an hour, depending on which scale and you're using. But it's, I think, his statement still stands in that he's saying that his daughter doesn't deserve the full value of her labor.
Which in itself is kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've just did the calculation on the biggest minimum wage over here. So if you are 25 and over, you get £8.72 an hour, which works out to £1,569 a month. That's before tax. So when you take the tax off, you're looking at around a grand a month. Now, that's not enough to live on. No way. Like if you're a single,
even with free healthcare.
Yeah, even with free healthcare, if you have, because even then you would qualify for tax credits.
Mm-hmm.
So you effectively are a state subsidized employee.
Yes, and that's what we do here too. With certain employers whether employees get major benefits such as Medicaid, which is still hard to qualify for even if you're poor.
Yeah, but looking at our numbers, because this is not something that I look at all. It's only because of this discussion I brought up. From 21 to 24, you get £8.20 an hour. From 18 to 20, you get £6.45 an hour. Under 18, you get £4.45. What? But the costs of your living are the same. These are based on assumptions that you're living at home with a parent. You've got no other bills whatsoever. And I don't think
a stupid assumption to make.
Yeah, I don't think you can graduate it in that manner. I think if £8.72 is the over 25 minimum wage, that should be the minimum wage from when you can start work. That's it. This graduation is nonsense.
Yeah, and he was trying to get at, the minimum wage paying something in the neighborhood of $70,000 to $80,000 a year, which might be like in the 55,000 pounds per year in your calculation, which sounds great in everything, but he completely mischaracterized what the minimum wage step up would have been had we in 1968 pegged it to what we call worker productivity.
Yeah.
And if they did that from 1968 to today, because the reason we use 1968 is not just arbitrary. We picked that because that is the highest point at which the minimum wage had the most absolute value.
Yeah, and not only that, it was in line with inflation.
It was not only in line with inflation. If you calculate inflation and you normalize it, people got paid more in 1968 than they're getting any other period.
Yeah. Yeah, because what's happened now? Because I think I've spoken to you before about Mark Blythe's calculation of the split from inflation and the average wage in 1968, where it did this. It fanned off from the average wage of a male, because that was all that was calculated at the time, like flatlined from inflation. Inflation kept going up. And that's where women started getting sucked into the working community because
they had to.
Yeah, exactly that. And then that brought in childcare and a whole new dynamic when it comes to the working family. The nuclear family was kind of gone by 1985 because from 1985. Both parents had to work to have a viable household. And now it's just the norm. Both parents have to work. And we're relying on grandparents or boomers to come in and look after our kids.
Well, in the United States today, the average 18-year-old will have to rely upon the wealth of their parents to purchase a house.
Yeah.
It's insane what people and you now 1968, if you were making the minimum wage, you couldn't afford a house. But that's the minimum wage was not meant for you to be able to buy a house. It was meant for you to live comfortably, which may mean renting. There's nothing wrong with the thing situation.
There were many mechanisms at the time to allow you to live comfortably, and it was expected that the man went to work and the woman stayed at home and did the home rearing of the children and stuff. And
which
then
is a whole different job in and of itself.
Yeah. Oh my God. Fucking hell. Yeah. That needs a wage in itself.
It does, and that's what we talk about when we look at countries like Sweden. And I'm not sure what England's policy is on it, but Sweden basically says if a woman has a child, she gets a year.
No, we mirror. We're starting to mirror America in so many ways, culturally and economically. And what we've got at the minute, thanks to Nick Clegg who was the former Lib Dem leader, who was in coalition with David Cameron from 2010, we've got parental leave. So we have 12 months of leave, which you can share between the two parents.
Is it paid?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's
We
paid.
don't even get paid. We get unpaid.
Yeah,
12 weeks.
yeah, which is ridiculous.
It's,
But
now detractors will tell you, but she gets disability while she's, during those 12 weeks, and disability is 60% of your wage.
yeah, which is
So
bullshit, man.
And then you have to, do all the whole application. I mean, it's work to do all that. So
The thing is, you have been so successfully gaslit into believing that you must go to work. You must go to work. If you don't go to work, you're a socialist.
yeah.
Really? See this child here. This child here is going to be your carer when you're dribbling your tapioca out of your mouth like in your care home. But we're not going to invest in their future. No, you're right.
I think we start by training people to think that way with the question that we always ask other people is, what's your dream job?
Yeah.
People ask that question, and that's actually a terrible question. I don't dream of laboring for somebody else's wealth.
Yeah.
At what point should I be dreaming about that? My dream life should be maybe working a couple hours of the day in helping the greater community, and then going off and having a hobby. And if that hobby is productive,
shut up, Swede, you fucking hippie.
but
that's what it is. That's exactly. No, I'll make you 100% right in what you're saying. We can all contribute to the greater good, but if our greater good is actually bringing people through, like kids and stuff, educating our kids and helping in societal things, surely that is a better goal than it is to help Jeff Bezos get another billion.
Yeah. Oh, he needs a bigger yacht. He needs a yacht within his yacht, which his yacht has a yacht. Literally.
Yeah, and a speedboat that comes out of the little yacht.
it's like Russian dolls.
And out of that comes a Tesla.
It's like Russian dolls. Just one inside the other. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, and then the other thing is I think we totally look at worker productivity the wrong way, in that if you double worker productivity, people should be getting paid the same, but working half as much.
Yeah.
If worker productivity doubles, I should be working 20 hours a week, getting paid the same. But it doesn't work that way. It's sorry, sure. Your worker productivity, you can have jeans on Friday, and we'll put out some chips and dip for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, we should be working in a circular economy. Instead, we're working in a spiked economy.
Yeah.
So we're all talking about growth and how much money we made, how much money we lost. When in reality, if you look at nature, most of nature works in symbiosis. Whereas we look like a virus. We just keep taking and taking, growing and growing. And when we're not growing, we're criticized for not growing. So,
yeah, infinite growth. The infinite growth economy is it's
the second law of thermodynamics. You can't keep growing in a finite environment. So, how do we then transition from that?
Change people's minds and how they think about things.
Yeah, but how? Because we've got to then say what is enough.
It's you and my job to go to our kids and be like, here's a different way to think about things. Here's when somebody asks you what's your dream job, here's how you reply. I don't dream of working for somebody else. I dream of working maybe for the greater good for maybe 10 to 20 hours a week. And maybe during harvest time, we all put in quite a bit more, but whatever, because we go help the farmer, get the shit out of the field. But it's you don't put yourself in a situation where you're like, I need to work 40 hours for somebody else.
Yeah, but the problem is the system is geared up already to make people do that. And how do we transition the economy from what can we do for you?
Starts with you and it ends with onion. Union.
Yeah, but look how demonized they are. And again, that exact same period that we were talking about, 68 to 80,
was the golden age of unions.
was the golden age of unions. And what did they do? They did
Well, I take
everything
that back.
they could.
It wasn't the golden age. The 30s was the golden age of unions.
Yeah, and then
In
World
the
War
United
II.
States, at least.
Yeah, and then World War II came along and fucked everything up.
And yeah, workers' rights became secondary to beating
Mm.
Hitler, which okay, cool.
But in my very brief period on our time scale, I look at the 1970s and I look at how everything was broken down societal wise, because post World War II, everything was like, we need to, fight for the greater good. We're working as a collective. We're bringing social housing in. We're building all these houses. We're using German prisoners of war to build social housing for the soldiers coming home. We're building the NHS. We're building a national school system. And then as soon as those systems got unionized and got too much power, the conservatives or the right wing did their best to break those communities up by bringing in things like the right to buy, which meant you could buy your socially funded and built house, and that's yours. You can nick that, that's yours. And it will never be returned to the social sector. And that created a selfish narrative within the originally socialist voting population. And now we're never going to get that back. I had a conversation just last week with a guy who bought his council house because he could. And then when I said to him, but do you not think that it's not fair that someone like of my age, and this gentleman is 20 years my senior, I said, do you not think it's not fair that someone of my age cannot get into that social housing sector because someone like yourself has bought your house and removed it from there? He went, well, it's tough. I was like, that's it. It's right there. They've all been bribed. They've all been bribed. Buy your house. You're all right. Pull the drawbridge up. Don't worry about anyone else behind you. And then complain, I feel sorry for these kids today. Fuck off, you do.
Well, the one thing that we've also done around the world, and this is we've suburbanized. Our cities have endlessly decided to grow out, rather than creating city centers that can function self-sufficiently in a manner through medium and high density housing. And we've created an expense with that for infrastructure, the streets, sewers, water, everything else like that, to feed this ever-growing, as far as land area, housing complex. Especially, I mean, this is terrible in the United States. I mean, where I live in Omaha, it keeps growing by a mile every year, it feels like.
But you have amazing steaks there, apparently.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I think it's 60 that if you eat a steak in the United States, there's a 60-75% chance that it came from Nebraska. So
wow.
But it's one of those where we keep adding to this expense, and the tax revenues for the center of the city, where people are fleeing, the higher income starts fleeing from the centers of the cities. All of a sudden, those tax revenues start going down. The streets start falling apart. And then we get into this city center problem where no one wants to go back in there. Businesses don't want to be there because the city just isn't taking care of it. Everything keeps moving out. Well, now you have, Omaha is 22 miles wide, 15 miles north-south. 20 years ago, it was half that.
What you're kind of describing there is kind of like a shock wave. As in, like the center of Omaha, you drop the bomb in, and everyone moves out, and then the center becomes desolate.
Yep. Until the downtown gentrification comes in, and where all the rich people move back into downtown.
Yeah, all the hipsters with their funny shoes and
Well, no,
No
the
shop.
hipsters were there before, but the housing was very cheap when the hipsters were there. Then the rich people move in and gentrify the area, and now no one can afford to live downtown.
Yeah. See, the thing is, this is a very common cycle because we have that in London. You have like really like poncy areas of London where it's like, oh yeah, I live in Shoreditch and Hoxton, and oh yeah, we just moved to Brixton, where it used to be really like dirty urban areas, and then all the posh white people moved in, and now it's like trendy fucking vegan bread and
rents triple.
Yeah, and wank coffee. And all of a sudden, like, yeah, I live in a shed. I pay like $1,000 a month. Yeah, great. I'm in Brixton though. Yeah, so I'm so trendy. And
yeah, I mean, the same thing happened in New York. I mean, what happened in New York City from the 70s through the 90s is happening everywhere else. You know, Chelsea, Hell's Kitchen. No one wanted to live in those areas in New York City. But now it's no one can afford to live there unless you're of money. I mean, if you want to live in Chelsea, you better be worth $10 million.
Mate, if you want to live in Chelsea over here, you need to be fucking minted. like I won't tell you what I pay for rent here, but if you was to take what I pay for rent here and what I've got space wise, you couldn't get a utility room in London for it. You couldn't.
Yeah. Well, in New York City, there literally are one room apartments that are like 10 feet by 15 feet. That's it. And there's a shared bathroom shower for the floor.
Yeah.
And that's what it, I mean, you walk in and you can't even fit a bed in some of these places.
What does that do? Who does that serve?
It serves the landlord, that's for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you think about it, the people that move into those places are not there long term. So what investment do they have in the community itself? None. Because they're like, oh, I'm only here for 6 months or a year, then I'm fucking off. So all it is a cash grab for people that are doing short-term investments. Because if you've got a place in London especially, and you keep having to put the rent up, all you're doing is driving out people that want to be there and inviting people that are desperate to be there, but only for a short period of time. So there's no sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand it. I just don't. Well, I don't understand it because I ain't got any fucking money. I need to start painting the tape, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in a situation where we have to make some hard decisions. That hard decision is we have to completely restructure the cities that we have. We actually need to like turn the dirt on some of our neighborhoods. And then when I say turn the dirt, it is tear down the houses and go back and build more medium high density housing. And if people are going to like to hear that, but it's right now, the amount of taxes we have to pay for the number of streets we have to take care of in the city I live in is astronomical. And it's only getting worse because we keep expanding. And every time you expand, you just add to that damn tax burden.
How do we do that without like flipping the table, flipping the
I think you have to flip the table.
It's got to be done. And I think we're due another reset. Because when was the last one? 1990? The last property crash?
1987 was the Resolution Trust Corp. Yeah. And then 2008 was a great time to start it because there were entire neighborhoods that were empty that we should have just taken a bulldozer to.
No, but I think 2008 was an artificial one. In the sense of that came on the back.
It was still a savings and loan crisis, just like 87.
Okay. Because for me, it seemed more like they were just chucking out mortgages to anyone.
Yeah, it's same with the S&L crisis in 87.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's before my time, so I'm not. That's on me for not.
Before my time too, but we had to learn about it.
No. No, but you're in a different field to me, so it's not something that.
The SNL crisis bore a lot of similarities to what happened in 2008. Now there
you know what? Now you say that, that's when my mum and dad bought our first family home, 87.
Yeah, because likely because of the repricing reset. And in 87, you could probably buy, a house for $45,000 and have 2,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet. Nowadays, where I live, house I'm in, 2,000 square feet, I can sell for 235, 240,000. Now, wages have not taken the same trajectory.
No, of course not. And
and then guys like this, that the world needs to change.
That.
So yeah, the Bin Podcast, hosted by Anders and Swede and you can't read what your title is on the screen.
Yeah, it's fine. But to be fair, the third word, he wouldn't even know what that means.
How are you?
Good.
He just had his 5-year-old checkup today, so.
Yeah. Are you all right, mate?
Today? Did you get a shot today?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Scooby-Doo Band-Aid, though.
In crayon.
In crayon?
Yeah.
And a blue crayon.
Anders, how is everything in America?
How is everything here?
Good.
Good.
Happy days.
Happy days are here again. So yeah, I got to leave and go pick up his brother here pretty soon. But yeah, that's who we got to convince.
Yep. And that's the thing. We're fighting against the people that have already got the money. Trying to convince people that haven't got money that having money is the best policy.
I get called all the time that I'm a class traitor, and I don't mind it. Because I get paid very well for what I do, and my wife and I are in a very well-to-do place. It's just I have no qualms about stepping back a little bit.
Yeah,
if it helps the community.
The thing is, when you get called a class traitor, it's because people in that particular social setting are told that they're winners. And they should pull the drawbridge up behind them, and everyone else behind them is rubbish. And
I don't think I've won until everybody's won, though, and that's the thing.
But the thing's that's why they think that you're a class traitor, because you're like, no, do you know what? I've got all these biscuits, and I want to share them with everyone. I don't want to just keep them all to myself. What's the point in keeping them to ourselves? How do we progress as a society without evolving? Did we just say, oh, okay, these are the winners, these are the losers, end of?
Well, we teach people that through, and I don't know if that's a natural thing, because my kids do that naturally.
It's a capitalist thing,
and I don't know if they learn it in school or where they learn, but it's Anders is always comparing himself to his brother, and they're always like, oh, you got more milk than I did, or when you split the Snickers in half, they're always, getting out the measuring tape. And it's, no one can have any more. My brother can't have any more than I have, because if he has more, I've lost. And it's like, no, the only time you should really give a shit, and I believe this is I don't remember the comedian that said this. He got in trouble, and it was like the only time you look in somebody else's bowl is to make sure they have enough.
That is. Do you know what? That's a beautiful point. A beautiful point. And I'm gonna put you in a direction of a Scottish comedian called Kevin Bridges, who I think you will find fucking hilarious.
As long as they punch down, I find it hilarious.
Oh, massively. He's
or don't punch down, punch up.
Punching up, definitely. I would say he's the next generation of Billy Connolly.
Okay.
And
I'm a big fan. I can't wait to see Bo Burnham's new thing that just came out a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if anybody else has seen that.
Bo Burnham?
Yeah.
I'll look him up.
He just had a new Netflix comedy special hit.
Okay.
Mikey, I need to hit you up for a Netflix.
Oh yeah,
You can watch that.
Yeah. Who's this geezer here?
Bo Burnham.
Mikey.
Oh.
I've been in the chat watching along.
Okay.
Had myself a nice gyro with some fried pickles on the side, and we got
You had a
curd.
euro.
Gyro.
Oh, I thought you said a euro, like a actual piece of currency.
So
I know you
Wayne,
guys have been-
Wayne, who you picking for UEFA?
Right. My pub sweepstake, I've got Spain,
Okay.
but I
Is
think
Ronaldo playing?
no, he plays for Portugal.
I know, but is he playing? Because then if he's playing,
He will be. But I think England have got a good chance.
For what?
really?
The Euros.
I don't
FIFA?
know, man. I still have my chant. 2 world wars and 1 World Cup.
Fuck's sake.
Has America ever won the World Cup? I think that
Yes,
is a no.
Mikey. Yes, Mikey. Yeah, they have. They got the participation trophy.
You guys aren't really answering
They
me
did.
here. That was
I
a
mean,
legitimate
every
question,
time-
and you're laughing and giving me sarcasm. Did we win or not?
Anytime the United States makes the knockout round, I think it's a success.
You've hosted it twice and lost it
and we
both
made the
times.
knockout round twice, and that's it.
So no, you weird people. Just say no. America's never won. I was like, oh, okay. And then you hit me with this stuff. Not, is that a yes in soccer? I don't even know what language you're speaking right
To be
now.
fair, one of the World Cups that you hosted, England didn't qualify for. 1994, there was no English representation.
Not even
And that-
Scotland or Wales.
No English representation.
What's and that's every year,
Every 4 years.
like the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, UEFA was canceled last year, so they're playing it this year.
Oh,
It's the European World Cup.
So if you hear me start the show next week by singing 3 lines on a shirt, Jules Rimet still gleaming, 30 years of hurt, never stop me dreaming. That because
don't stop believing.
The reason I know UEFA's right now is because, well, it was canceled last year, but Anders was born when they were playing, when Sweden was playing in the morning.
that's why they lost. There was too much Swedish energy going to them loins. That's why Ibrahimovic is knackered.
They had to send him to the United States.
Exactly.
My cousin got
His comment was
He was like, Anders, I hear your call.
my favorite quote of his though was I can't believe I'm playing here. I feel like a Ferrari in amongst a bunch of Fiats.
That is such a Zlatan fucking comment because he's old as fuck.
So he's.
I mean,
the
the Major League Soccer in the United States is the European retirement plan. I mean,
Oh yeah, I think I could get a run out.
I mean, even Rooney played over here for a while.
Yep, he did for DC United.
So I remember something about Zlatan popping up on it was either Facebook or YouTube with those little short things they keep hitting me. And he was he's plays for LA, right? LA.
He played for LA. He's back in Europe now.
So he played for LA, and LeBron had just went to LA. So he's like, oh, let me connect with this dude. He's a big star over here. So he sent over a jersey, and just they do jersey swaps and stuff like that for famous players. Zlatan fucking signed it and sent it back to him.
Lad.
I was like, oh, that's cocky. Oh, that's cocky.
The thing is, Zlatan is like The Rock. He like addresses himself in the third person. That is not good for Zlatan.
Like as soon as that bombshell, there you go.
Look at this.
That bombshell dropped in the thing. I was like, ooh, the.
I mean, they have
ball
respect
man.
for LeBron over in Europe, but I mean, soccer stars in Europe are a whole nother world.
Yeah, it's different level. Yeah, so your man Tom Brady has got nothing on like Lionel Messi or Ronaldo. Yeah, nothing, absolutely nothing.
What's your thought on Ronaldinho?
Ronaldinho.
I love that guy.
Or Mr. Flop himself. What's his face from Brazil that flops all the time?
All of them.
Starts with an N. He only has one name.
Nene.
Oh, God.
That's basketball, though.
Are you talking about your man at PSG? Neymar.
Neymar, yeah.
Yeah, he's just a money grabbing wanker as well.
There was one time I think in the last World Cup where no one touched him and he tried to flop to get a penalty shot.
No, there's a famous someone kicked the ball at someone's ankles and he grabbed his face and fell down at a corner.
My other favorite moment of World Cup history, though, is when Germany bent over Brazil. That
Whoa! 2 seconds, you can jump off quick.
Giggity.
I think they scored like 5 goals in like the first 6 minutes or something crazy. Like they just boat raced Brazil. It ended up being like 9-0 at the end. I mean, it was just stupid. But there were so many uploads to Pornhub titled German R-word Brazilian.
Yikes.
To the point where Pornhub had to put out a press release saying, please stop uploading World Cup footage.
That's not what this is for. I get it's funny, but no. What was I going to say something about?
Anyway, I do have to go pick up Andrews' brother.
Well, Swede, before you go, if you ever get chance to watch the Italian 90 World Cup final between Argentina and Germany, it's like they're in a shooting gallery because they go down like there's snipers everywhere.
And do you know that there's not?
Tuck and roll. They just tuck and roll.
Maybe there is a sniper there with little BBs.
I do declare.
Maybe it's like airsoft and he's hitting them right in the Achilles every time.
Definitely.
They need to start handing out red cards for that shit.
Oh yeah. The thing is, we've got VAR over here, which is video assistant referee, which means they can go back and look at it before the decision is finalised. And if they look at it and go, "Yeah, no one touched you, mate. You just fell over."
They do that in basketball. They started that in basketball about 5 years ago. It's a hefty fine. Like your first one's like $25,000. Second one, $75,000.
They even went after
the people who
take threes that kick their leg out so that they can get nudged on the leg when they do
shot. No.
The old Reggie Miller.
They leave the leg dangling. Like, I know he's going to slide tackle me, so I'm just going to leave my leg here. So as soon as there's contact, I'm going over.
And conversely, there's the Zaza Pachulia rule that is now in effect. Zaza Pachulia was the center for Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry's team, and they were going against San Antonio, and the center went to do like a closeout, just try to block or distract the shot of the star player on San Antonio. And what happens is he closed out and then he put his feet underneath the jump shooter. So guy goes up, he puts his feet underneath, guy tries to come down, twists his ankle. Put him out of the series. So Zaza got a big fucking fine for that, and they're like that's an instant flagrant 2 now, or a tech 2 now. If you close out underneath the shooter and so that they can't land safely without breaking their own ankle, yeah, you're out of there.
Mikey, I do have a question about basketball, but I'd like to just say my thanks and goodbyes to Swede for jumping in.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
See you.
Take care, mate. Thanks again, mate.
See you tonight.
Right.
Yes, sir. Basketball. That's my
Basketball.
Is my favorite sport. I love to dribble up and down the court.
Okay, coolio.
I think that was a little Bow Wow.
I don't really fucking care. Goaltending.
Yeah.
I used to play NBA Jam back in the day.
No goaltending.
And I used
no
to get
goaltending calls.
I would get fouls for goaltending. What is goaltending in basketball?
So there's two things. There's two things. So let's say you're going up for a layup and you lay it up off the glass.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it touches the backboard, I can't touch it until it hits rim.
Right.
So if I throw it off the backboard and then it's bounced off, you can't interfere with it on its way to the basket. That's one form of goaltending. It happens a lot when people are we're doing a fast break and they're running, and then the guy comes up behind and slaps it. If he doesn't slap it before it gets on that glass, then that's goaltending. Or if the ball is on its way down.
Okay, well, I call bullshit on that straight away. So
if you have a high arcing shot, they have to let it go. Like if it's not at its apex, you can't. You have to block it on the way up.
Or it's zenith.
It's zenith. Yes. Well, I don't know if it's apogee or perigee.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it might be perigee. No, apogee. I think it's apogee.
I'll go zenith. But anyway, the reason I call bullshit and all that. Imagine being. The reason I say that, I'm an ex-goalkeeper from football.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, my job is to stop that ball going in that goal in any way, shape, or form within the rules. Now, say for instance, the ball hits the crossbar. I've got to sit there and watch it drop and see if it goes in. No, motherfucker, I'm stopping it. So goaltending in basketball is bullshit. Because you can someone runs up to do a layup and you slap that ball at their hand.
That's a block.
It's a block.
No, wait. If you slap it out of there, but I'm saying we almost seen physical example. So that's not going to show up. Here we go. So this is the backboard, and the hoops right.
Yeah, I know how it works, Mikey.
Yeah. So if you kiss it off the glass over here, and it's going to roll in. If I get it off the backboard, you got to let it continue to go. You can't just smush it up against the glass.
Nah, bullshit. Fuck it off. Your job is to not let the other team score. So, if it hits the glass, it's got immunity.
Yeah.
Fuck
you gotta. Well, I mean, we also have free throws where it has to bounce off of the rim or the backboard. I think it's the rim. It has to bounce off the rim before anybody can jump up and touch it.
That's why I don't know American sports. Oh, bullshit.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of rules in American sports where certain people aren't as athletic as other people, and they had to change the rules.
Oh, what you mean, defensive blocks?
I mean,
which are basically just.
Hey,
everybody! I'm Fat Albert.
I don't know this for sure, but you can probably blame Wilt Chamberlain for that because he was known
who that is.
Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in one game.
Yep.
This was back when there was before there was the NBA, there was the NBA and the ABA, which was the American Basketball Association, and
were ABA like WCW?
Yeah, but then they all kind of got absorbed into WWE/NBA. But they had to change so much. There didn't used to be a 3-point line.
Really?
Yeah, that wasn't originally part of the game. It was just all twos.
When did the 3-point line come in?
70s, late 60s.
I was going to say because I've never played a game without a 3-point line.
Yeah, but the original game didn't have it, and that was kind of to give an advantage or some sort of balancing for people who were better shooters than dunkers, because you had people like fucking Will Chamberlain around, who was 7'2". He had like a 4'8" 40. He could bench press 500 pounds. He had a 46-inch vertical leap. He was an absolute monster. He used to work out with fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger and keep up with
Jesus.
him. Like, the dude was a basketball player up until his 40s, in which he retired and then started a completely brand new volleyball career.
Who was your little fella from the Charlotte Hornets in the 90s?
Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah. He was the shit. He was the shit.
Spud Webb was like an inch or two taller than him and won the dunk contest.
Really?
These were not no little sissy dunks. You should, that man, like, like sometimes they hang on the rim and then they let go. The amount of time it takes him to drop down is so comical. I was just like, how the hell is he getting up? But that's the difference between high school to college to semi-pro to NBA level athletes. These guys are absolute monsters of nature with supreme athleticism, which is why I argue that basketball players, professional NBA players, are the best athletes on the planet. Like, there's just no comparing it to. Like, they have so many different skills.
It's just end to end. It's end to end. It's so quick. It's like, and not only that, being a tall person, to be able to lift that amount of carcass up into the air and drop it down
consistently.
Yeah, it's hard work. I mean, me walking up the stairs is hard work, and I'm only 6'3".
Yeah, 6'3", you'd be the shortest player on a lot of teams.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah,
I'll be the feistiest gut puncher.
You're like if you ever, I'm trying to think of who's that exactly that height. Steph Curry, you're Steph Curry size, little itty bitty Steph Curry running around the court shooting all the threes.
But that'd be my thing, man. I was in my school. I was the clutch shooter. Stick it out to Wayne. Wayne's always going to be the left hand side of the D. Boom, reining it in. And then at the same time, when it comes to defense, I was the one slapping it out of their hands because I was a goalkeeper. So when someone goes up for a layup, I'm there, bang, slapping out of their hands. That was my thing. I love being a goalkeeper, but I also love being that geezer that got the glory. I'm like dropping threes from downtown.
Well, let's say we wrap this up because I'm getting a bit sleepy and I have a ridiculous clip to show you. So any parting words before we tell everybody goodbye until next week?
No, let's just wrap it up. It's a solid show this week. We touched on some very serious subjects and we cunted off some very cunty people.
Very cunty cunts.
And then we just had a nice little casual one.
A little casual one. So for your Lord Wanker of Essex and for me, Mikey Famine, make sure you guys visit us on Patreon and we will see you guys next effing Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.